the most beautiful blue dial in existence. This is the Moser Pioneer Center Seconds in Arctic Blue. Now, I've seen this watch once before, nearly 2 years ago. A friend of mine in Texas bought one himself, and then he brought it to a meetup I went to in Dallas, and seeing it in person just shocked me. It was easily the most dynamic, the most eye-catching, the most beautiful blue dial that I've ever seen. And I've owned some pretty gorgeous blue dials over the years. I've also reviewed other blue dials that I would just say are breathtaking. So the best blue dial that I've owned personally was the Vacheron Constantin Overseas 4500V. The best blue dial that I think I've reviewed to date was a Grand Seiko Peacock GMT. But this Moser Arctic Blue, I think is prettier than those darker, warmer blue dials of the Grand Seiko and the Vacheron Constantin. I think this Moser just looks amazing in the sun. It looks amazing in darker light conditions. There just isn't an instance where this dial doesn't look outstanding. So in that regard, this is not a watch that you buy if you don't want it noticed, if you want to just let it fly under the radar. It's not deep, it's not dark, it's not navy, it's bright, it's eye-catching. So if you want something subdued, this is not the watch for you. But conversely, if you want a watch with powerful presence, with a distinct identity, I think this one fits the bill. Thanks to Exquisite Timepieces for lending in this Moser for a presentation. Exquisite is my recommended Moser authorized dealer. They have a large selection of the brand in addition to 60 other luxury brands. So if you're shopping for a new watch, if you're shopping for a Moser, definitely check out Exquisite Timepieces. A link is below. Now, one of the things that I really enjoy about this one is the fact that Moser signed the dial ever so faintly. In most angles, you can't find the branding, but it's there under the 12 double indexing. It's barely cut into the dial, and it's filled or colored with the same blue fume application as the rest of the dial plane. And this allows the dial to completely be the focal point of your eye. And I think it's kind of a flex. It's certainly uncommon, but it's kind of a flex for a watch enthusiast to walk around with a roughly $15,000 watch on their wrist where the branding is barely visible. I think that's fun. Rolex, they can't, sign their name enough on a similarly priced Daytona. From their coronet badge to the text on the dial to the engraved repeating rehaut, they really like signing their name on their product. But Moser, they went with a stealthy signature, and there's just something really cool about that. Now, taking a look at the case, there's a mix of brushed and polished finishing. There are indented forms on both case sides that add some more interest to the overall package. The case is 40 millimeters in diameter, and it has 120 meters of water resistance. For reference, my wrist is 7.25 inches in circumference. But flipping the watch over, you can see Moser's in-house movement. This is called the HMC 200. I think it's a great design architecturally speaking, but it's beautifully executed. There's a skeletonized, dark-coated solid gold winding rotor with bidirectional winding set over ceramic rotor bearings. This has a free-sprung balance that is anchored in two different positions for stability, and the balance features variable inertia regulation. This has a Straumann hairspring with a flat overcoil. It has 27 joules, 72 hours or 3 days of power reserve. The beat rate is 21,600 beats every hour, and the total height of the caliber is 5.5 millimeters, which isn't the thinnest caliber, but it's certainly not the thickest either. I think it's a really solid manufacturer movement. Now, the good thing is you can view it through an exhibition crystal, and I think that's important when you're spending $15,500 full retail price. You want to see where a majority of your investment is going, so that's a good thing. If you look close, you can see Moser striping. That's a bit different from traditional Geneva striping that has uniform widths. You can see this has a staggered width with that stripe finish. This has purling, this has anglage, this has black polishing. And again, I really like looking at it through the exhibition crystal. Here's the Lume shot. The Lume is average. There's not a ton of application here. It's only found on the hour hand, the minute hand, and then it's found in little plops around the rehaut. So I think it does the job decently for a brief amount of time in dark conditions, but don't expect this to last all night. Now, lastly, here is the strap. This is a supple ventilated black rubber. It has a great buckle design. There are angled grooves here in the buckle that tie in to the angled grooves set into the case indentations. So that's a nice correlation. The strap is sporty because the watch is an everyday style watch that you could technically take in water. I wouldn't take it into water. I would not swim with this if I owned one. The only water it would see if it was in my rotation would be an occasional wash under the tap, but the rubber strap allows you to do that. Now, in the opening of the video, I showed you this on my wrist with a compatible Moser bracelet. And honestly, it's such a good bracelet. It has comfortable H-links. It has a proper sport clasp design with a hidden push button micro adjustment. And I know that I'm biased. I'm a huge bracelet fan, but this watch needs to be on that bracelet. I think it completes the watch. It accentuates the blue of the dial, but unfortunately, Moser does not offer this as an option from the factory. So if you want this bracelet, you're going to have to order it separately, which only adds to the significant cost of the watch. Now, this lack of an option to buy it on the bracelet new, I think it's the only real weak spot about the watch, but even that's debatable. Some people will say, no, Bruce, you don't want to put a bracelet on a Moser. You just want to look at the dial. It needs a strap. And I can see where you're coming from. I just don't agree with you. This is the only aspect of the overall package that I hope Moser changes for future editions. I hope they offer this on a bracelet, brand new in the future. Other than that, what a watch. What a great option for a collector who wants something nicer, certainly more uncommon than a similarly priced Rolex or another mass-produced mainstream brand. I think this is a good option for the collector who wants a watch with powerful presence, with upscale finish work. Maybe for the collector who finds watches from, say, Patek Philippe or Vacheron Constantin a little bit old-fashioned, or maybe stuffy, but let me know what you think about that. Thanks for watching today. Reach out with questions, and I'll see you next time.